Hello, friends. This is Nikki with the Victim to Victorious Summit, and I am here with Master Qigong and Tai Chi instructor and practitioner Richard Leirer. Richard Leirer's organization is the Qigong Academy. He's one of the most experienced and accomplished Qigong teachers in the U.S. We are so honored to have him today. He has been a serious student and practitioner of the martial arts for over 49 years, and he is considered one of the few American Qigong Masters. He has been officially recognized as a master by the Chinese Qigong Society of Cleveland. And interestingly and so amazingly, Richard created Tai Chi and Qigong for stress recovery at the Cleveland VA hospital. He's going to talk to us about that as well. He also created programs for surgery rehabilitation at hospitals like the world famous Cleveland Clinic. So we're going to talk all about that stuff. Richard, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a joy to be here with you and all the viewers. I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing. It's greatly appreciated by me and much needed in our community and the world today. So I'm willing and grateful to offer whatever little I can to help lower all of our stress, because we're certainly in a difficult time.
So important, especially people who are going through heightened periods of stress or crisis, but just all of us. Now, Tai Chi and Qigong has been studied, has been documented as absolutely being able to lower stress responses. Richard's going to get into that, but I like always to start with a little bit of a personal information. How did you get started in Tai Chi Qigong?
My personal background, I was a young man coming out of the inner city of Cleveland, Ohio, and I wanted to find something that was appropriate for me to learn. And I happened to live one street away from Cleveland's Chinatown. And I had Chinese friends who I grew up with. And to grow up in Chinatown and to walk in the Chinese compounds where I'd imagine I was on the Great Wall of China, walking along the edge of it and hearing the Chinese language being spoken on a regular basis, it was something that really moved my heart. And I realized that this is something that meant a great deal to me. And so I began my practices. I began my first practices with a teacher who was more of a hard stylist approach to Qigong. We call it more of a military or hard style Qigong. And then I moved to more of the softer Tai Chi and Qigong teaching practices after I learned a little bit. So the hard stylists are out there, I understand them, and I understand the need for it and why people did it. Again, as a young man, I was 18 years old when I started, and I'm 67 right now. So it was a chance for me to, as a young man, to look at what are the physical capacities that I could push myself to. Wow. And in the hard stylist, we do, sometimes it's called iron shirt Qigong, where we build a iron shirt to protect our body and protect, we call it Wei Qi. And then what can we do with our physical force? And it has a more harsher approach towards it. So as a young teenager and a young adult, I was learning how to break boards first with my hand and my fist and my head, and then cinder blocks.
Wow.
And then we did training with blindfolded, where people would come and attack us, and we had to have to be blindfolded. We had to react to that, literally only sensing them.
Wow.
So sensing them builds up our peripheral field of in the Chinese term, we call it the Wei Qi field. The Wei Qi field is our external field that's around us.
Okay.
And we can sense things at a greater level.
You mentioned Wei Qi. Now within that is the word Qi, right?
Yes.
Can you go into a little bit for people who might be brand new to Tai Chi Qigong, some terminology? So you mentioned Qi. What is Qi?
Yeah, and Qi, in Chinese culture, and particularly in Chinese medicine and Chinese practices, there are things we call the three treasures. So the three treasures are Jing, Qi, and Shen.
Okay.
Our Jing, it belongs to anything that has physical form. So our body has a physical form, so we say that's our Jing. But so do plants and animals and other things that are there.
Okay.
But that physical form has to be animated with something. And so to be animated, that's the qi. So the qi animates something and gives it life and vitality. But then there's a third process, which is your shen. Your shen is your spirit, or we would say in the Western terms, our soul.
Wow.
So within both, we say, living things, they have the jing, qi, and the shen, or the physical form, the energy, and the soul or the spirit.
Okay.
So to have all of those in balance is the goal of what we want to do. And
beautiful.
And in Tai Chi, the goal is to keep those in balance. And even the word Tai means great or supreme.
Okay.
And the ideogram for Tai, or the Chinese lettering for Tai, is first a person standing. So the person is standing, it looks like a person that's there. It's a line, a head with two legs. And then it has a line going through his head to indicate that the person has his head in heaven and his body on earth. Then there's a dot between that, in the middle of it. That means it's one centered person between heaven and earth.
Wow.
And you can't get any better than that. That's why they call it supreme or ultimate, Tai.
That's profound. So is the thinking going like, if you have mastered Tai Chi or Tai Chi because of the characters, then you really are balanced in being grounded and in your spirit, you know, maybe open to divine consciousness. And
absolutely, that's the purpose of it. You need to have both. You need to be in that divine consciousness and also centered on earth. That's why the line goes through and say you are both. You're centered between heaven and earth. Wow. So Tai means one centered person between heaven and earth. Then the second
way to be.
yeah, right. And what we strive for.
Yeah.
The second word is Ji, Tai Ji, or Qis, in different spellings. But the Chinese characters are the same. And in that character Ji is first an ideogram for a tree, or particularly a pine tree. And so the thing about a pine tree is that it's evergreen and it's always relaxed. The wind blows and the pine tree just gives in to what's happening around it. It doesn't go dormant in the winter like we might, you know, as we get tight and stiff and, oh, I'm afraid. We go dormant inside because that fight or flight thing we'll talk about more later.
Yeah. So
the pine tree is able to always be loose. And what is the pine tree always doing? Gathering from the earth and gathering from the sky. And in some Qigong meditations, there's actually a chant. And the chant is to use the concept of the tree and to sing song or fang song, which means to put to relax. Do ding fang song. Holding his whole head relax. Mi bu fang song, whole face relax. So the meditations go through a process of letting the whole body eventually go through a series of relaxation so we can be like the pine tree.
That resonates so well, as I just moved to the mountains, and one of the reasons why is because I love the pines. Yes. I love it. Briefly explain to us what is the difference between Tai Chi and Qigong. We're going to have a little bit of a practice, so I'm assuming maybe a little bit of both later on. So what is the difference?
So that second thing about the Tai Chi, the second character for the Ji, is that contained within the earth plane is characters for the hand and the mouth. Okay. So in order to be totally relaxed, you have to use your hand and mouth in a balanced fashion. So Tai Chi means one centered person between heaven and earth who knows how to be as relaxed as a pine tree and uses the hand and mouth in a balanced fashion. So
wow, that's pretty specific.
And
I love it.
And people can check out my website. I have a whole, they have the ideograms all on there for them, so you can look at. There's a whole section called The True Meaning of Tai Chi, so you can see it.
Okay. Now, we'll definitely put your website information in the description below of all three videos. We're going to be doing 3 of them. Yeah, great.
Then, so Tai Chi is developed as a movement form. You do a series of movements that are put together. Okay. The first movements I learned was 108 Wu style form. Okay. Since those older times, they've abbreviated them. Now we're down to standard 24 movements. Okay. So you would do 24 things over and over again in a walking fashion that are related mostly to nature. Okay. So we'll talk about that, like parting the horse's mane, or the white crane opens her wings.
I love white.
Or the monkey running backwards, retreat, repulse monkey. So all these different things of nature that were applied to physical movements and motion. Now, Qigong is a separate category that can be included in Tai Chi, but it also can be separate by itself.
Okay.
So we said what the word Qi means, but we also then the word Gong means to cultivate.
Okay.
So the Qi is the energy that animates something or gives it the vitality. The character for Gong, it looks like a plow. So it has these two lines coming down. It looks like a plow. You're turning or cultivating something.
Okay.
So Qigong literally means cultivating the Qi.
Cultivating the Qi. Okay. All right. And we're going to be doing a little bit of practice of that, but they're usually like a little bit slower or like a little more precise. Like, can you tell the difference if you're watching somebody doing Qigong versus Tai Chi?
Yes, Tai Chi will always be in a movement going through stepping.
Okay.
Oftentimes Qigong can be done sitting down, laying down, or standing still in one spot. A very little movement.
Would you say that Qigong, if somebody wants to help their body system by doing these movements, that if somebody was maybe bedridden or they're going through health things, can't move around a lot, that Qigong would be something that they might be able to do, if they only have their upper body strength or something?
Yeah, I believe that Qigong is where people need to start. So you have to start with the Qigong settings. So there's different types of Qigong. Like there's Qigong that's to build up the body, iron shirt Qigong. There's intelligence Qigong, where we do things to increase our mental capacity.
Wow.
There's a series of movements that are called the 8 great movements for health, or the Bhagavad Gita, which are a series of 8 motions that are put together to bring about the health of the body when they don't have to move. They could be in a wheelchair or sitting down or even in a hospital beds.
Wow.
And that's what I began with when I began my programs at the Cleveland Clinic Hospital.
Talk a little bit about that, please, and then we can segue into, I'm sure, tell us about some studies, tell us about your experience at Cleveland Clinic. Why were you there? What were you doing?
So the late 1990s, I was invited by doctors who heard about the benefits of both Qigong and Tai Chi, and they said, do you think this would help us in our work at the hospital? And I said, absolutely. So they invited me to come. And they first invited me to actually participate in the surgeries. They said, can you help during the surgery to make a person heal faster? Wow. And I said, because the Qi increases the blood flow, the answer was yes. And because Qi can also be expelled. Qi, there's a special point if you would bend over your ring finger where it touches your palm. Mm-hmm. That's called the Lao Gong Shi, or the Lao Gong acupuncture point.
Okay.
And energy kind of leaks out of that point during the day anyway. It leaks out of the top of your head, the Bai Hui. It leaks out the bottom of your foot, the Yun Chuan, or the bubbling spring. Wow. So oftentimes we close these or make them go towards our body when we do different Qigong practices.
Okay.
And certain masters have learned how to expel their Qi. So it'd kind of be like a healing touch, which we would know here in the West.
Right, yeah.
So I was able to demonstrate the ability to expel Qi during the surgery or to pull Qi away from where the incision was being made.
Wow.
So a doctor was making an incision on a body part, and I was able to pull the Qi from that spot, which means less blood was available when the incision was made, therefore less bleeding.
And you actually saw that result.
They saw the results completely. And then we're able to increase the Qi after the sutures were made, and that increases the healing. And the surgeon was so astounded, they said, how is this possible?
Yeah.
And I said, it's from the process of learning how to move the energy in the body. And they said, well, we really can't have you here all day long just during surgeries. Is there anything else you could do that's similar to this that would be able to work with people after the surgery is done? And I said, absolutely. And that's where we began the Tai Chi and Qigong for surgery rehabilitation. So we would work with people in wheelchairs, even in their hospital bed, and we have them slowly doing the exercises we're going to go through now, or some of them.
Wow.
Because it can be done at any setting, only to the limit that you're at now. it increased the blood flow and increased their ability to rehabilitate faster and to get out of the hospital faster.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for all that work you did and the work you're doing now. That is incredible. And it's actually a testament to that hospital as well, you know,
Yes.
that they were forward thinking enough way back then to.
Yes, they're very progressive. And even now they're offering even programs in yoga. So they expanded it, saying, we understand that other modalities are also beneficial.
Yeah.
And this idea that they're beginning to really complement,
Yeah.
which is what we hoped complementary medicine was going to be achieved. And it is slowly moving that direction.
Slowly but surely. And I think it's in large part up to us, right, to kind of demand it and say, hey, we want to change. Anyways, I won't get on my soapbox, but I did want to ask you about Tai Chi Qigong for stress and for nervous system health, for stress responses. If somebody is stressed out, how can Tai Chi Qigong actually help? Give us the science. Tell us your thoughts on that.
So that's what the VA hospital then asked me. They said, we heard about your success for rehabilitation. What do we do with people who are in stress? And I said, first, we have to get them to do that Feng Song. We have to get them to relax. But if you tell someone to relax, they can't do it if they're in a stress response. You're like this, well, I am relaxed, right?
And their shoulders are way up
to the ears, right?
Yeah.
So we know the physical parameters of the fight and flight reflex. So anyone who's been under traumatic stress, for whatever the stressor was, the body goes into the fight or flight. So the fight or flight is such that we know what happens physically. The blood rushes to the back of the head. You can't think straight. Blood level increases, your heart rate increases, the blood pressure goes up, shoulders rise to your ears, and you're ready to either fight someone or run away from someone.
Right.
So you're even though I'm walking around, I'm saying I'm not stressed. You know, you can physically see that they are. So he said,
people actually walk around.
Yeah, you can see them. You know? So how do we get them to do that? So I said, if we can get to direct their mind to not think about their stressor, but to direct it to do an activity that is designed to move the energy through the body, it would automatically lower their blood pressure, get the blood flowing to other areas of the body, not just to the parasympathetic system, and move the blood back to the frontal lobe where they can have reason to be able to set in.
Absolutely.
So with research we did there, they also found out this worked better than what they call, they're using a lot of Jacobson's progressive muscle relaxation methods. And that's a method where you think, oh, hair relax, face relax, shoulders relax, arm relax. And you go through the body, thinking of each body part and progressively relaxing each one. It's an excellent exercise. And a lot of the vets couldn't even do that because, like I said, they couldn't get their mind out of the stress response.
And this was working with vets.
Yes,
specifically veterans.
Specifically veterans. And this was particularly started with veterans from the Vietnam War, because it was also, that was in the early 2000s.
And so they probably had like a diagnosed PTSD situation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So diagnosed PTSD, and again, we found out, which I'm going to show you in a bit, how to make the body move. They have to think about the body part in order to activate it. So thinking about a body part in motion is different than thinking about a body part when you're sitting down or laying down, because the mind can race, right? The mind can go off to anything. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of my hair. Okay, well, I'm really not. I'm thinking about our interview.
Right.
But if I say raise your hand to your head, oh, you have to do something to make that happen.
Okay.
And that's what takes them out of the stress response.
Actually do the movement. Okay, and we're going to do that very soon.
Very soon. And again, there's a plethora of information and data now that has been recorded on the stress response, and how Tai Chi helps a variety of health benefits.
Okay.
For us, we're talking to each other. Again, you can go to my website and easily look at the research page I have, and it'll show you many of the documented scientific papers now on how this works for stress, how it works for things like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease. There's even a recent studies coming out of how it helps for COVID. So it was done in China, where it's used to increase the immune system for COVID patients and for treatment and for rehabilitation.
That's awesome. And I'm assuming inflammatory levels as well. That's a big issue with a lot of people who are dealing with the health crisis.
Right.
is getting those inflammatory levels down, and also people that deal with chronic stress and autoimmune.
Chronic fatigue, right, arthritic deposits and all of these things, because again, Chinese look at arthritic deposits as idea that your body is like a river. Now I look at the river here with the Rio Grande is a few miles down the road here in Taos, New Mexico. So a river is constantly moving. So the water that was here a second, now the water is over here, it's no longer here anymore. But it looks like the same river.
True.
What we don't know is that our body is like that as well. Our physical body is constantly changing. Our cells in our body are not fixed. They're only there for a limited period of time. Your skin cells only last for 15 days, and then they die off. Well, people would say, well, why don't I have big holes in my hand? Well, the river flowed, and the river put another cell there to replace it.
Wow. So not just blood flow. Blood flow, it's easy for us to imagine that it's a river because it's flowing. But literally, if we were to look at that point in my finger right now, and then we look at it 2 weeks from now, it looks still like the same finger, but those are completely new cells.
Absolutely, totally new cells. So what's called adult stem cell production. So adult stem cells are made in the bone marrow. So exercise that uses increased pressure on the flat bones of the body will increase stimulation of adult stem cells.
Okay.
Embryonic stem cells are what a baby has. A baby's forming, we all know about them. But most people don't know that their body is constantly changing, and the adult stem cells have to go to the site where the cell died to replace it with a new cell. So the new cell literally grows.
Wow.
Well, that's just our skin, but our internal organs all do the same thing. Your heart is no longer than 8 weeks old. It's only 6 to 8 weeks old. That's it. That's all long it lasts.
Wow.
Your muscles are about 12.
Well, why do we have so many health problems then if we're constantly regenerating? What's going on?
Stagnant rivers.
There you go.
So when your chi stagnates, you don't have the same level of stem cell production going there.
Okay.
Without that same level of stem cells hitting to the spot, you have atrophy taking place in the area.
Okay.
I started with inflammation and things like arthritis deposits. Those are deposits that are being made in your joints because the river isn't flowing through there very well. So it's not able to take it away and remove it from the body. So deposits are being left there and accumulating. So other things are happening inside of our body. We're accumulating debris, basically, that isn't properly taken away, and we're not providing it an adequate amount of new stem cells, and we're not making enough new stem cells.
Okay.
Because we're not having exercise that increases downward, inward pressure on the flat bones.
Wow. And so again, I mean, you definitely addressed it before, but I just want to reiterate this question that might be in people's minds, because sometimes we have to hear things over and over, right? Well, how can Tai Chi Qigong help with this issue? Like you're talking about stagnant rivers and getting the river flowing again. How can Tai Chi Qigong help?
It's time to do it.
All right, let's do it.
Right. Anywhere fancy, but just in a general place.
Anybody can do this anywhere. You have a clean space, a room, or not too much.
Any place at all. So again, I like to do it outside in nature a lot, but anywhere you have a few feet around you.
Awesome.
So beginning of Tai Chi is we say we want to be like a tree. So what is the first thing a tree does? So a tree is usually pretty centered. So try to put your feet shoulder width apart. If you are sitting in a chair, just sit down in your chair. Just sit down there and have your feet be shoulder width apart if you can.
Okay. So if somebody's not able to stand, they can be sitting.
Yes.
Point. Okay, good.
I have students right now sitting. I said the students that are in, or the patients that are in the hospital, they're either in the hospital bed or in a wheelchair. They're not standing.
Okay, and we're going to talk later about, this is just a little plug that we'll talk later about Richard's free Zoom classes that he's offering, which are amazing, but proceed.
So the feet are shoulder width apart. The head, we say, is suspended as if by a silk thread from the heavens.
Okay.
So there's a point where your ears, if you move your finger from your ear to the top of your head, that's called the Bai Hui, or the 100-point intersection. So you can think that you're being lifted upward as if something is drawing you up like a rag doll.
Okay.
Your tailbone is pointing down, and you're going to be like a tree. So what does a tree do? So the tree has to first create roots. So if you think of a place below your belly button, this is a special energetic area. In Chinese, they call it the lower Dan Tian, or Sha Dan Tian. Dan means a place where medicine is made, the medicine. Tian is a field. Sha means lower. So this lower field, it corresponds to the yogic system in India where they call it hara.
Okay.
So, or we call it your gut feeling about things.
Okay.
So you want to create the feeling here and make it go down out the bottom of your feet and spread out like roots of a tree. Say like 9 feet like the roots of a tree. So that's going to be the energy of the earth. And then this head that's being lifted, that's going to open and draw down the energy of the sun, of the heavens. And now, we said before that Tai means a centered person between heaven and earth, right? I have the earth energy coming into my center, below my belly. I have the sky energy coming into my body. And I'm becoming Tai. I'm becoming centered between heaven and earth.
Should we be doing anything with our breathing right now, or just breathing normally?
Okay, Master said, don't forget to breathe.
Don't forget. Don't hold your breath. Okay, got it.
Right. But later on, there'll be more techniques about breathing. That will happen there. It gets to be more specific as we go along.
Okay.
So there's different types of breathing. But from here, we're then going to get some movement. So the first movement in the Tai Chi form, the first movement into Qigong, is to kind of like, you decide to kind of lean forward a little bit and let your hands come up parallel. Yeah. And then pull them back and push down. And then do it again. You kind of lean forward and let your hands come out, fingers extend, and then pull back, push down. So then think, open, toe, ankle, knee, hip, spine, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger. Think close, finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, spine, hip, knee, ankle, toe. Now, straighten your body a little bit. Keep your knees slightly bent. Then come back, bend the knees a little bit more. And you're thinking, energy move through, toe, ankle, knee, hip, spine, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger as they open. Now think close, finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, spine, hip, knee, ankle, toe. Yin, the mind leads the chi. So the mind is making the energy go to the fingertip and back down to the foot. Open, toe, ankle, knee, hip, spine, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger. Close, finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, spine, hip, knee, ankle, toe. We'll do one more. Open and expand. Close and contract. Now open on an angle, like you're a bird opening its wings, and then come down. It's like a crane opening. Open those wings. And the shoulder blade is lifting and then dropping. And your wrist is leading your fingers. Your wrist is pulling the fingers up. Wrist is pulling the fingers down. Beautiful. Still opening. Toe, ankle, knee, hip, wing bone, shoulder, elbow, wrist, fingers. Beautiful. Doesn't that feel great? I'm expanding.
It does. It feels really good.
I'm contracting. We'll do 2 more. Expand. Contract. 1 more. Open. And close in. Lift the wrist up. Push the palm out. Come in. Lift the wrist up. Push the palm out. In. Out. Push. Eventually you work on breathing in. Breathing out. In. Up. Out. Let's do 1 more. In. Up. Out. Let's do something. Curl. Finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder. Unfurl, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger. Make baby finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, thumb all move independently. Then release thumb, index, middle, ring, baby. So each joint of each finger is opening by itself. Then shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger. So you see how we're working these joints?
Yeah.
Also in Chinese medicine, we have acupuncture channels, chain sides. So the acupuncture channels run down basically to the hands and feet. So by making our mind go here and leading the qi, we're also opening up the acupuncture channels that flow down to the fingers and to the toes. Let's do one more. Furrow. And unfurl. Take your shoulder, raise it to your ear, turn it down towards your knee. Raise your shoulder to your ear, turn it over and relax. Remember I said when we're in stress, our shoulders are to our ears anyway? So now we're trying to make it go to our ear intentionally, but to push down, then open and let it drop down. So now I'm tricking you to relax that shoulder. And I'm also
That's
working.
a nice stretch too.
Great stretch. Draining the lymphs in the armpit.
Okay.
And I'm getting that flat bone to be having inward pressure on it. Flat bones increases stem cell production. Chain sides. Up and in. Up and up.
The flat, so helping your flat bones increases stem cell production.
Inward downward pressure on the flat bones will increase stem cell production.
Love it. Super important.
Also, this drains the lymph. So lymphatics need to be drained regularly in order to keep your immune system high.
Yeah.
One more. Now, a lot of people tell me they have lower back pain. So now we're going to do both together, but round the back, chin to the chest, stick out your toes. Then come up and over. I'll give you a side view. Keep doing it your way. I'm just going to give you a side view. I'm rounding the back. And I'm letting each vertebra of the spine open and stretch. As long as also the muscles along the spine at each side are beginning to align. They're loosening.
So these
Still
are
draining
really,
those lymphs, and I'm still doing no downward inward pressure.
okay.
And I'm bending my knee. Bending my knee, I'm starting to get activation of my thigh muscles.
Okay.
Now we're gonna be like doing a breaststroke in swimming. Push away the water, bend your knee, tickle your armpit. Push away the water,
So easy, it really is.
tickle. You're swimming like whoosh. And you're pushing away all of your worries and anxieties. Whoosh. Right now I'm just swimming. Whoosh. Good. Let's do one more. Whoosh. Then reverse that. It's like you just won the lottery or got good news. It's like, yes! And pull your money into a big pile. There you go.
Yes. Why not have fun?
Right, exactly. Think good things. Have good thoughts.
Whew, I'm starting to get a sweat. I'm feeling heat moving up.
By the way, the research shows that Tai Chi is an aerobic exercise.
Really?
Well, how can it be aerobic if what I'm doing is so gentle? What you just said is why.
Okay.
It increases blood flow. What does aerobic mean? Aerobic means delivery of oxygen to the cell. What am I doing? I'm releasing my tightness, increasing the blood flow, delivering oxygen to my cell. That's why it's more aerobic than aerobic exercise.
And I'm feeling a heart rate increase as well.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's awesome for us who don't really like to work out.
Yeah, people don't believe it. They say, how could that happen? It's like, just try it and you'll see. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm getting a little sweat going on. I love it.
This is from the Karate Kid movie, Paint the Fence. So you're coming up, instead of doing one paint the fence, you're doing both at the same time. So the wrist is leading your fingers, then your wrist is pulling the fingers. So as Mr. Miyagi said to Daniel-san, oh, make sure you paint the fence. Good job. And if you can, keep the fingers up until it passes your waist. Then relax the wrist, pull up, pull down.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. That's this. Wax on, wax off.
Oh, that's this, right? This is the paint defense part.
Correct.
Gotta see that movie again.
We can do wax on, wax off. I'll show you how to do wax off and do a motion. No.
We're getting all fancy now.
So Tai Chi has a lot of stuff to it. We usually do it slow, but if you ever need to, you can do it fast. We're gonna do something. There's an acupuncture channel that runs around your waist. We're just gonna go a few more minutes, and then we'll go back to other things. So,
Yeah.
you put your feet a little closer. There's an acupuncture channel that runs around your waist, and it's appropriately known as the belt route, like a belt. In Chinese, they call it the Daimai, D-A-I. So you're gonna make a little hula hoop motion, and you're gonna think you're wrapping something around your waist. So you're opening up the belly button, the belt route, thinking the energy is moving around your waist. It's like wrapping a sash or a cummerbund around your waist. And then reverse direction. Now we're going to do a figure 8. So bring your hip to the back, push it to the front, bring it to the back, go to the other front. Now we're going to make a figure 8. Try to keep your shoulders still facing towards me. So instead of having your shoulders move, it means I have less hip motion. Just make your hip do the motion.
Okay.
Now I'm draining this. The Chinese call this, in the West we call it the inguinal crease. These are where your lymphatics are for your legs.
Okay.
The Chinese name for this is called the gua, a reverse direction. Sometimes you'll see it spelled K-U-A or Q-U-A. It's pronounced gua. They say in the West we have frozen guas because we don't squat. You know, in China, like I said, I grew up near Chinatown, one street away from there.
Yeah.
The Chinese people there would squat, keeping their heels on the ground. They would just hang out like this, talking to each other, all day long. You ask an adult to try to do this, they can't. You ask a kid maybe over the age of 14, they can't do it anymore because their guas are too tight. They lock them up too much.
Wow.
So we're opening this gua, we're draining the lymphs here, we're getting blood flow there.
Excellent.
Now we're gonna go this way. So draw your hip to your rib, then go down and out to the side. And you let your heel come up here. Yeah, now it's like you're dancing.
They'll come up, okay.
Getting a groove on, right?
It's like a belly dance, yeah.
By the way, I am a student of belly dance as well.
Right. So is it the same, I mean, if somebody, because some people might be doing belly dance, are they getting the same kind of?
They are. If the mind is there, they're getting the same stimulation, right?
Okay,
You wanna go both directions.
okay.
I was fortunate enough to travel not only to China and study with masters there, but also to go to India and look at traditional dances like in Rajasthan and Pushkar, places like that. So, you know, the stuff that you do in belly dance, you know, it's a very similar action of what happens in Tai Chi. So,
Really
again, there's different types of Qigong motions that you do that can be added to dance and added to movement. So the key, remember, Qigong means cultivating the Qi, right? So all we want to do is make sure we cultivate the Qi. So we're going to end with 2 more things and that's it. So for today.
Yeah. And then we'll
Make your arms big. Tell yourself you're awesome and give yourself a hug.
I'm awesome.
Awesome.
Everybody watching, give yourself a hug.
Close yourself the other way. Tell yourself you have a wonderful immune system.
I have a wonderful immune system.
Open big. Tell yourself your body heals quickly.
My body heals quickly.
Most importantly, open yourself big. Tell yourself you're loved and you're lovable.
I am loved and I am lovable.
Mwah! Right.
So are you, everybody watching?
Good.
Love it.
Then take your lower hand and put it to the face. Making this weird, that's it. So this is us trying to get our neck to drop down again. Where I talked about the shoulder being to your ear.
Yeah.
Trying to get the drop. Then change sides.
I can feel a stretch there.
Yes. The stretch will come in here. We're going to learn how to relax these muscles. We're going to drop it from the neck and shoulder. We'll do 1 more on each side. So kind of perfect. Last one. So then we usually say thank you to the masters. So we can give a traditional bow and say, 谢谢你, Zifu Hao Tian-Yao.
Oh, I'm part Chinese and I don't know this.
谢谢你 just means thank you. So then usually Sifu means teacher. So I have different teachers who taught me things, and what we just did was called Dao Yin exercises.
Dao Yin, okay.
It's a general term that covers many different Tai Chi forms that are evolving in movement.
You can literally feel, I mean, for folks who are listening right now and might have followed along with that practice, what I always say is that, you know, if you watch this recording again or whatever, monitor your stress level, do it like between 1 and 10, give yourself a number, and then do the practice, and then measure yourself again and see how many points you've gone down. And then that is the telltale sign, right? It's like, wow, like I probably was about a 7 and now I'm probably about a 2, which is really good news. And also I feel good in my shoulders. Yeah, it's great. Tell us again one more time the Chinese words for to close. Thank you.
Yeah, 谢谢你.
谢谢你.
谢谢你. 谢谢你 means thank you.
谢谢你 so
ni
cool,
means
right?
you, 谢谢 means thanks. So thanks you. And oftentimes you would say thank you. You could say it to anyone, you know, to the heavens, the universe. I usually give thanks to different teachers who taught me things. So after I do my practices, I usually give a thanks.
Awesome. Richard, thank you so much. Thank you. 谢谢你.
Good. And we say
so much for this amazing practice and for talking to us. Is there anything that you want to say as we're wrapping up? And then we'll tell people how they can access more of your stuff.
Yeah. Again, there's plenty of research to tell you about what benefits are here. But the research doesn't do you any good unless you do something. And I know it's hard to start. It is. So that's why we say inch by inch, Tai Chi is a cinch.
Inch by inch, Tai Chi is a cinch. I love it. And again, you know, give it a try. See if it resonates with you. We're all coming from different backgrounds here on the show.
And watch how you can become a one-centered person between heaven and earth.
And earth. I love it. Thank you. Richard has been offering free Tai Chi 3 times a week, right?
4 times a week. 4 times a week.
Wow, 4 times a week via Zoom since the pandemic started, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. What a service. And he's going to be here 3 times in this program, in this summit, and all of his information, his website and the Zoom link. Well, his website, you can access the Zoom links from your website, right? So all that information is on his website, and go check it out. And yeah, check it all out. Join in on a class. Join in on a class. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Blessings to everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.